Greetings, dear perceptive souls. This is Bevan. I am a life purpose coach, an intuitive career mentor for empaths and light workers and mystics, whatever you like to call yourself. And I'm also the co-founder of 1millionempaths.com, a beautiful online sanctuary for deep thinkers with huge hearts who care deeply about our future. And today's topic is, how do you discover your soul mission, your life purpose? What happens as you take that journey to really discover why you're here? You know, so many people on our planet right now are saying, what I have, the job I have, the life I have, it's just not working for me anymore. What is the meaning here? You know, what am I supposed to be doing? I know I have these gifts. How do I use them? How do I bring those to bear in our world, particularly as we see all of the things that are happening right now? And before we begin this reading, I would just like to bring in my beautiful bowl for just a moment. Let me pull it back so you can see better here. I would just want to take a moment to get quiet, because the first step to the journey to discovering your purpose, discovering what lights you up, you see all this light coming from the tapestry behind me, is really getting quiet and going within. So I ask you to call upon your ancestor spirits, your angelic guides, your spirit animal totem, whoever is surrounding you now. You can feel them. They have been very, very present in our world. They're coming closer, really like in droves. I mean, just a massive amount of energy coming over from other realms and other dimensions to support, to nurture, to uplift, to witness at this time. One of the cards that I've been receiving a lot as I've done readings for clients and for these YouTube videos is the guardians, and they are close with us, my friends. So let's just call them in for a moment here and open this reading. Thank you, dear ones, for joining us today. And what I want to begin with is a super powerful card. Medicine power. Wow, take a look at that imagery. This person is extremely focused. You can see some of the sacred geometry that the artist actually infused into his face. And the face and the eyes are the seat of the soul. We can look right inside that window and begin to get really clear on why we're here. And why I believe a lot of empathic, intuitive, perceptive people are here is to be healers. So what does that mean to be a healer? You know, some people think everyone who's a healer has to put their hands on someone else's body and move energy around. And that's certainly an amazing, amazing gift if you have that. But that's not the way that everyone is called. I have friends who are doing healing work in so many different aspects of this human experience. Whether we're talking about physical healing work, I work with a wonderful chiropractor here in my local area who is doing amazing physical work to help heal and bring my vertebrae back into alignment so that my spinal cord, my energetic nervous system can be completely expressive and fully healthy. That's a way of healing, right? I have friends who do Reiki and they do that energy work. I have another friend that does divine light healing and becomes a channel for this beautiful consciousness to enter into the physical cells, into your mindset, into your emotional body. I've done a lot of emotional healing work with my clients to help them let down and let go and set aside that baggage that you've been holding for so long so that you can open yourself. Because finding our life purpose, our soul mission, means that we need to be clearer as a vessel. Notice I didn't say completely clear, because that journey is ongoing, right? The unfolding, the depths that which we dive within to see who we are. It's an ongoing journey. And you see here that he has the white feather. Feathers are often a sign or a symbol, if you see them floating down in front of you, that there's an angelic presence, an ancestral presence there that wants to heal and to bring in a supportive energy to you at this time. There's also that feathers can be used to clear stagnation. Anything you can go around as you sage your house, you can wave the feathers, to clear the stagnation, move the energy, get it moving and rotating in a healthy direction again. And this is the power that we all have, right? It's incredible activation here with the butterfly spirit and in a small woman here. And I don't mean small as in to minimize. I mean, the feminine is here at the throat chakra, right? The feminine is speaking out so clearly now. Our earth is speaking out. Women are speaking out. This is such a beautiful activation that's coming in here. And he is focused, right? He is focused. He's focused on his own healing. He's focused on how he heals and plays that role as a healer for the earth and for other people who are ready to take that journey. And there's all this activation coming up here as he goes up towards his higher self. So this is a beautiful way to start this reading, right? And the next card that came was relax and hold of the darkness and be at cause. So just look at this imagery here, right? So when we start to enter into this healing energy, we create this, you see it's like this spiral vortex. It's just going up, right? It's coming up from the base of the trunk of this tree, which has been chopped off. And that's literally happened all over the world, that these old growth trees have been chopped off and logged. And it takes hundreds of years to replace something like that, right? It's precious. And yet, as we stand here, we begin to create this vibration that we can heal. We can heal ourselves. If there's anywhere where a circumstance, a trauma, anything happened in our lives, and we can actually take that part that's been cut away and we can rebuild it energetically. We can bring that back. We can do that soul retrieval and come back into that space. Then we begin to create this possibility, right, for the spiral. This person is looking up, just ready. What's next? What's next, right? This reminds me, when I was a child, I grew up in Oregon, which is on the eastern side of the United States of America. And we lived out in the middle of all of these fields. It was an agricultural area. And there was a line of trees, really large trees that had been chopped off like this. And what happened is you can see here that these little sprouts started to come from all around. So if you can imagine that this tree stump was here, and then these sprouts were all the way around it. And inside was a secret fort. It's where I went to read. I could lay on the tree and look up through the branches at the sky. It was my secret place. And I didn't realize that I was actually sitting on this energetic portal. The wood energy, right? The wood energy is a strong foundation. It's growth, it's expansion. And when I was a young person, like, this is literally how it felt to be in that space. So I pulled this card and I was like, yes, it's my fort. I remember it. It was amazing. And part of our healing journey, as we move towards this soul mission, life vision, is to restore and replenish. If we've been out in the world so much, if we've been working a job, for 40 or 50 or 60 hours a week, or we've been putting ourselves out there, and yet the work that we're doing is not really soul nourishing, it's more soul sucking. And I did that for a long time. because I thought that's what was expected of me. I thought that this is what I needed to do. I was very focused on making sure that I had financial security. And hey, there is nothing wrong with that. We're meant to have that. But I did it at the detriment of work that was actually meaningful for me. And when I started to realize that I could have both of those things, I could have something that nourished me, and I could have a world and a life and a way of being in this world that did not involve doing things and selling things that I didn't agree with. You know, what I needed to do, and this actually happened to me, I had been in that space out in the world so deeply for so long that my body literally shut down. And this is a journey that we often take. It's like we have to go within. And I couldn't work for about 6 months. And then when I got back into it, I had this renewed energy to focus on my business, to really focus on being this advocate for empathic and sensitive people. But I needed this time, right? I needed this time to go within, to just curl up, to be in my infant fetal position self and just be nurtured, right? And you will know if you are in this place where this is the stage you're at, because you will feel really drained. On Monday morning, you will not want to get up and go back to the job that you have, right? This is the space that's calling out for this nurturing. And you may have to do that in the evenings, and you may need to do that in the mornings before you go to work. And you may need to do that on the weekends so that you have enough energy to make this transition. But this is so necessary, because what comes out of all of that quietness and going within is inspiration. So here you see her hair is just full of flowers, right? And then here come the entire group of bees. And I don't know if you can see it very well, but there is a honeycomb back here, which is a sacred geometry. And this is about coming to collect the pollen, the nectar. And when we get quiet and we go within and we do meditation, or we sleep and we rest our bodies, or we sit in a hot bath and just listen to music, or whatever relaxes you, this is when this inspiration comes. It's often that clients have told me this is when they figured out like what they wanted to do next. Because it's like, the intuitive download can come in. When we're so busy, we can't hear anything that wants to come in for us. So rest and restore, and then wait for that inspiration, because it will come. And then as you start to tap into that inspiration, you slowly, step by step, begin to bring it into form. Right? So here are all of those little bees, if you will, all those little sparkles of inspiration. It could be this, it could be that. Maybe I'm meant to be a healer. Maybe I like to read cards. Maybe I'm meant to work on ecological restoration or social justice, or whatever that is for you. And you just take one step, and then whew, that ripples out. You see, it's like choo, choo, choo. And then one step and one step. And sometimes you have to kind of slog through the mud a little bit as you get started, because it's a slow start. But then you pick up speed, right? You pick up speed and you pick up momentum as time goes on. This is the process of bringing it into form. So you see the 4 and the 1 make a 5. That's change, moving forward. And each time this person steps, there's this ripple effect that comes out. And in front of them are more sparks of inspiration. So one thing will lead to another, will lead to another, will lead to another. And this card is so beautiful. It's called Free from Judgment, Free to Love. And of course, this could seem like romantic love, but since we're talking about your purpose here, and of course we are meant to love, that is part of our purpose here. It's a huge part of our purpose here. As a matter of fact, when we do whatever is our sacred work, it's meant to come through that lens of love and through that lens of deep caring for our communities and our world and for each other. But what this means is free from judgment is starting to unwind and allow that inner critic inside your mind, that part of yourself that said, well, you know, here I am 50 and I'm just now starting to learn about this, and I'm just now starting to get into this, or, oh gosh, other people are farther along than me, or who's going to want to listen to me if I get onto YouTube and start to talk? And so when we become free from judgment, and this is a process, right, of hearing those inner voices, hearing what you're saying to yourself, and then releasing that, saying thank you very much for your input. But I don't think that's a very affirming thing for me to say to myself right now. I think I want to think about it like this. And you start to switch and you start to build those neurons, right? You can kind of see around her head all these beautiful like lights. And on my Facebook business page, I posted this wonderful video of all these neurons, and they actually filmed them as they're starting to make a connection with one another. So here's one and here's the other, and then this one puts out a tendril and it's like, and then all of a sudden you build a new pathway, right? And so this is a really important process as you're working on doing your soul mission. It was one thing for me to be in the corporate world, and I was a salesperson for part of that time, and I regularly wrote proposals to clients for tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes even over $100,000 projects. And people would sign off on it, and I'd be like, okay, cool, let's get it done. Didn't have any emotional reaction to that, wasn't worried about it. And then I came into coaching and I began to sell my work and invite people in, right, to work with me. And I was like, I don't know if I should charge $50. Boy, that seems like really high. Do you think people are going to want to do that? And these are the kinds of old conditioning, right? That what I do is not worthy, that what lights me up is something that nobody wants to pay for, and I can't make a living doing this. And we have all of these stories that we hold in our mind, right, about this. And I invite you to begin just noticing those stories and allowing them to play out, because they're there, right? They're patterning. And just like any habit, we can go, I caught that. Not from a place of judgment, but just from a place of, interesting. Okay, I want to think something different. I want to affirm something different. I want to manifest something different. And it takes process and it takes time. And then you rewrite those neural pathways and they make those beautiful connections, right? Because what we're doing in a way as empathic, intuitive people, especially those who are deep feelers, right? Anyway, I have any deep feelers out there? This has been kind of the societal structure for a very long time. We have to be emotionless. We have to be, it feels almost like marching. Like I have to be rigid. I have to wear my uniform, whether that's business wear or like I actually had to wear a uniform. I actually had to wear like a logoed shirt that had somebody else's business name on it other than my own. And now I have like Hawaiian. So what does that tell you? And so, you know, we have to be on a time clock. Here it is, 9 o'clock, time to get to work, got to make the donuts. That's an old commercial from when I was younger, but it's all very rigid. And this is not the way that we create an intuitive, spiritual, conscious, holistic wellness business. It is much more fluid, right? It's much more like standing on this stump and pulling that energy up from the tree and the earth and then receiving down and spiraling this beautiful energetic vortex. This is more like what doing this kind of business is like. And it's really cool, but it's different. It's a different cycle. And so there is a death and rebirth. You see like this old way, this old paradigm of doing business. And here's this little infant self. This is you going, I have this spark of an idea. I think it'd be really cool. And I'm really passionate. I want to be a writer. I want to be a yogi. I want to do whatever this is. And, you know, it requires, you know, the shedding of the skin and moving into a new cycle. And it also requires, you know, sometimes going back within. Actually, it requires going within almost every single day. So I get up and I wake up. I try to wake up without an alarm clock because that feels better to my body. Nothing jolts the sensitive nervous system like first thing in the morning. I realized, wow, that like puts me on red alert from the very moment I come from the sleep state into the waking. And so as much as I can, I try not to. I try to wake up naturally. Sometimes I wake up to my cat who's like, hey, time for food. but but I'll take that kind of alarm clock. But sometimes, this requires going within and really, as you start to get out there more in the public, as you start to build and craft this different conscious business, this different way of relating to people, this way of reciprocal exchange and love and kindness and giving. It requires you to be more hermited in some ways, right? To really continue to shine your light, to have that light out in front of you, just like when you're bringing it into form, you're holding this light out in front of you. And sometimes you go back into the cave and you're like, I need to go back and get inspiration. And so the one of air came up, this new beginning. Look at this air dragon. Like, that is a fierce beast, right? And there's like almost in the heart center, there's almost like this insignia or sacred geometry or light codes that are being activated here as he or she taps in, to this third eye chakra. It's just amazing. So it's really like the heart interacting with the mind. Here we had the mind, very little heart, hardly any emotions, big black spot, right? And here, it's more integrated. And the wings are out and spread, and it's like taking this vision and this idea and bringing this into form. It's so beautiful. And then what came out next is the 8 of Earth. I love her. She's just like, she's a queen, she has a scepter. She has her third eye just shining. She's holding in her hand this beautiful ball. It's like the potential of your conscious business. It's just right here, right in her hand. And she's grounded and rooted into the earth, but she's also expansive up into the universe. So she's both, right? This is the 8 energy. It's a dualistic energy. It's a balancing energy. And this is what we're going for. And of course, the final card that came out today was soul purpose, right? So here he is. And in the interpretation of the card, this is Moses, from the Hebrew Bible, from the Hebrew Quran, which became the Old Testament and the Christian Bible. And there is a Merkaba. It's hard to see here, but there's a Merkaba, which is a sacred geometry, which is also reflected here, the 6-pointed star. We see the caduceus, but with a single snake. So this was the wand. This is a fire energy. This is a wand energy. It's sort of a 6 of wands, right? Like going out into the wilderness on this journey. I'm finding the promised land, and literally, I am manifesting this new creation, this new journey, this opportunity for healing for me, for my other people. And this is just beautiful. And there's a staircase in the back that goes up to the heavens, and you can see. I'm a little confused as to why Moses is, Caucasian with blue eyes, but then again, I don't know as much about Jewish history, so pardon me if I'm speaking out of turn, but I was like, doesn't seem that would be the right skin color and the skin tone. But if we look at the overall message for this, it's that it's time. There are so many people now who are going on this journey to find their soul purpose. And as our world changes dramatically, and I do believe that the world of work, what we've called work, what we've called business, is going to be dramatically changing. I don't think that so many people would have been laid off from their jobs, and so many companies looking at transforming and everything just basically like crumbling down economically, if this wasn't time for us to open a new door and a new chapter for what work looks like. I think that people are really calling out for a deeper meaning and purpose in their life. And if you are one of those people, I'm so glad that you're here, that you've connected with me. I hope that you see yourself at some point in this journey, whether you're resting and restoring or getting inspiration or starting to bring it into form. Maybe you are creating a YouTube channel or a podcast, or you're starting to blog, or maybe you're reaching out and you're beta testing and you're starting to, talk to people who could be potential clients. And you're working on that inner mindset, right? To be free from judgment and starting this rebirth. And then you're going back and you're like gathering more information intuitively, and then you're coming forward again. It's a beautiful dance and a beautiful process. And I've been in this process for almost 5 years now. And I'm so excited to announce that I am launching on July 25th, 2020, a program called From the Ground Up, a wisdom circle for novice entrepreneurs. So I am sharing with a small group of people everything that I've learned about finding your niche and places to express and elevate your voice, and the things that I've learned about coaching and teaching and writing and, and making videos and making courses and being on summits and all the different things that I've experienced over this last 5 years of my journey, and really just helping people who are really dedicated to launching and getting into this entrepreneurship space. Working for yourself is very different than working for someone else, and it takes a little bit of time, and it takes a little bit of transition, and you need to make a financial plan, and there's all these things, and we're going to talk about all of that. Like, how do you set a really strong foundation your very first year so that your business can roll forward, and you have a support system of not only me but other entrepreneurs. You can connect, you can collaborate, you can partner, you could test each other's ideas, you could give each other testimonials to get started with all those beginning steps. And then not only are we going to work on the earthly plane, because that's really important, but we're also going to get up here into the spiritual plane as well, because there is nothing in my life besides my personal relationships that has tested me, helped me grow more than running this business. And it has to do with your self-confidence and your trust and your intuitive knowing and discernment to understand where to go next and who to partner with, and all of the inner and outer things that come up for you on a personal level when you're bringing your work into the world. So we're going to work on earth and we're going to work on spirit. Both of those together build that really strong foundation. If this is something you're interested in, I am taking applications. It's open now. Anyone who applies and is accepted and begins their payments by June 30th gets 2 bonuses. One is a self-study video course called Confidence for Sensitive Leaders, and then an ebook that I've never released before until now, which is Wisdom for Novice Entrepreneurs. So I would love to talk with you, have a Zoom call, get to know you, and see if this is something that resonates. Please reach out to me. You can get that information below. And thank you so much. Please continue this journey into your soul purpose. You are meant to have a life that lights you up. You're meant for this. It's why you came here. It's why you're an empath. It's why you're highly sensitive. It's why you're a mystic. It's why you're a light worker, a spiritual seeker. You're like, I know there's something important for me to do. And I'd love to help you with that journey. Namaste, my friend.